Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is typing a question into an AI, and the moment they hit enter, a building the size of a stadium light up to answer it. You already know the star of this story, NVIDIA, the company whose chips power almost all of it, the most valuable company on earth. Everybody knows NVIDIA is the winner of the AI boom, but there's another company, and it might be the smarter bet, because this company gets paid whether NVIDIA wins or loses. It's worth nearly $1.8 trillion. Its technology is inside almost every AI system you have ever used. And most people, even people who follow the stock market, can't name a single thing it makes. Its name is Broadcom. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand something that most investors completely miss. How do you win a war without ever having to pick a side? I'm Leo. This is for educational purposes, not financial advice. Let's start with something simple. You ask an AI to write your email. 2 seconds later, there's your answer. It feels like magic. It feels like it happened inside your phone. It didn't. Your question left your phone, traveled hundreds of miles, and arrived at a place most people have never seen and never think about, a data center. And a data center is really just an enormous warehouse, sometimes bigger than a football stadium, filled with thousands of specialized computers whose only job is to think. It is quite literally a building we built for machines to do our thinking in. Inside, your one small question is broken into math, enormous amount of math, answered by thousands of chips working together, and then the answer travels all the way back to the screen in about the time it takes you to blink. Now here's the part that matters for our story. To build one of these AI brains, you need two things. You need the chips that do the thinking, and you need something to connect them all together. Everyone obsesses over the first one. This company quietly owns the second, and its fingerprints, as we are about to see, are all over that building. So let's build one of those AI brains from scratch, you and me, and you'll see exactly where Broadcom fits. The star chip of the AI era is called a GPU. Think of a GPU as a factory floor with thousands of tiny workers, all doing simple math at the same time. A regular computer chip has a few brilliant workers who solve problems one after another. A GPU has thousands of ordinary workers, all solving pieces at once. And it turns out that's exactly what AI needs. Millions of tiny calculations, all happening together. This is what NVIDIA became famous for, the best factory floor in the world. And here's the problem. Modern AI is so big, so unimaginably large, that no single chip, no single factory can hold it, not even close. Training one of today's top AI models is like a construction project, so massive that a single factory would take 100 years to finish it. You don't have 100 years, you have months. So what do? You don't build one factory, you build 10,000 of them, and you make them work as if they were one. And the second you do that, something changes, something almost nobody outside the industry understands. When you have 10,000 factories that need to build one thing together, the hard part is no longer the building. The hard part becomes getting them all to talk to each other. And that single shift is the whole reason this company exists at the center of AI. Picture the city of 10,000 factories. Now imagine there are no roads between them. Every factory is brilliant. Every factory is expensive. And every factory is sitting completely idle because it's waiting for a part that's stuck across town with no way to get there. That's a real problem in AI. When your chips are waiting on data instead of computing, you are burning billions of dollars an hour on the most expensive machines on the planet to do nothing. So the roads aren't a detail. The roads are everything. So who builds the road inside AI data center? Let me introduce you to the three things that move the data, and the company that dominates all three. First, the switch. A switch is a giant traffic interchange. Data arrive from thousands of chips at once, and the switch instantly sends every single piece to exactly the right destination, millions of times per second, without a traffic jam. Broadcom makes the most powerful data center switch on Earth. Its latest one can direct a fire hose of information so large it could move the entire written content of the Library of Congress in a fraction of a second. Second, the highways themselves. And increasingly, those highways are made of light. It's called fiber optics, sending information as pulses of light through threads of glass thinner than human hair. Light is the fastest thing in the universe. So when chips are far apart, you stop pushing electricity through copper wires and start sending light through glass. And third, the traffic rules, the shared language every chip used to communicate. In this world, that language is called Ethernet. Ethernet is a common open standard for how machines talk to each other over a network. It's been around for decades, connecting office computers. And now, souped up for AI. It's becoming the standard language for connecting thousands of chips. And Broadcom is one of the companies leading that shift. So step back and look at what we have built. The world stares at the factories, at NVIDIA. Meanwhile, quietly, one company built the switches, the highways, and helped write the traffic rules. Broadcom didn't build the loudest thing in the city. It built the roads the entire city depends on. And here's the first half of our answer. It doesn't matter whose factory you buy. The data still has to travel Broadcom's roads. But that's only half the story, because Broadcom found a second way to win, and it's even better. Imagine you're Google or Meta or OpenAI. You're spending tens of billions of dollars a year on AI chips, and almost all of that money is going to one company, NVIDIA. NVIDIA's chips are incredible, but they're expensive, they're in short supply, and depending on one company for the thing your entire future runs on makes you nervous. So you start to wonder, what if we build our own chips? One designed for exactly what we do, nothing more, nothing less. Now, NVIDIA's GPU is a general-purpose chip. Think of a general-purpose chip like an off-the-rack suit. It fits almost everyone reasonably well. That's its strength, and it's also its weakness. It's not tailored to you specifically. The alternative is called a custom chip. The industry name is an ASIC. A custom chip is a tailor suit. It's designed to do one company's exact job perfectly, and nothing else. And because it's not wasting any effort on things you don't need, it can be dramatically cheaper to run and use far less power for the specific work you build it for. For a company running AI at a colossal scale, that tailoring can cut costs by nearly half. When you're spending tens of billions a year, half is an ocean of money. So of course they want their own chip. But here's the catch. Designing a world-class chip from scratch is one of the hardest things humans know how to do. Google can write software, Meta can build apps, but turning a chip design into actual working silicon, almost nobody on Earth can do that at the highest level. So who do they call to design their custom chips? Broadcom. And this is the moment the whole story clicks into place. Look at the choice again. If Google keeps buying NVIDIA, those chips run on Broadcom's road. If Google builds its own chip to escape NVIDIA, Broadcom designs it. Both roads lead to the same place. No matter which way the giant turns, Broadcoms get paid. And if you think that's just a nice theory, it already happened in the most dramatic way possible. In June 2026, OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, the company that started its entire AI wave, revealed its first custom chip. It's called Jalapeno. OpenAI designed it to escape its dependence on NVIDIA. And when the finished chip was ready, it was Broadcom's CEO who walked in and physically handed it to OpenAI's founders. The company trying to build an alternative to NVIDIA, and build it with Broadcom. And that's the thesis of the entire video. So how did the company most people can't name end up in the middle of everything? To understand Broadcom, you have to understand one man, Hock Tan. Tan isn't a flashy Silicon Valley founder in a hoodie. He's a sharp, disciplined operator, an engineer with a business school mind. And he runs Broadcom with a philosophy that's almost boring in its simplicity. Don't chase hype. Buy great businesses. Run them better than anyone else. And repeat. Broadcom, as we know it today, is really a chain of acquisitions stitched together by Tan. He'll find a company with technology the world depended on, buy it, cut everything that wasn't essential, and turn it into a cash machine. Then use that cash to buy the next one. He did it so many times that Broadcom became two companies in one. On one side, the chips, the switches and custom silicon we have been talking about. On the other side, software. In 2023, Tan spent around $69 billion to buy a company called VMware. And VMware is software that runs quietly inside most of the world's big corporate data centers. If a large company runs its own computer systems, there's a good chance it depends on VMware to do it. It's unglamorous, it's essential, and companies pay for it year after year after year. And that raises a question worth pausing on. If almost half of Broadcom's money now comes from software, is Broadcom even a chip company anymore? Maybe the better way to see it, Broadcom isn't a chip company, it's an infrastructure company. It sells the essential, invisible plumbing that everything else runs on. And chips and software are just two kinds of plumbing. And plumbing, it turns out, is a wonderful business because everyone needs it. Nobody wants to rip it out, and they pay for it forever. Alright, so we understand the businesses. Now look at what it actually produces, because once we see how the money splits up, the whole company suddenly makes sense. Broadcom's revenue divides into three buckets, and the fascinating part is they are moving at completely different speeds. This is really a company running at two speeds at once. Bucket 1, the rocket, the AI chips, custom silicon, and the networking. A little over a year ago, this was around $4 billion a quarter, then 5, then 8, and in almost a recent quarter, $10.8 billion, up 143% in a single year. This one bucket is now almost half of the entire company, and it's growing faster than just about anything in the corporate world. Bucket 2, the steady foundation, the software, mostly VMware, about $7 billion a quarter, growing a gentle 9%. It's not exciting, and it's not supposed to be. It's a reliable high-margin cash that keeps flowing no matter what AI does this quarter. And bucket 3, the old empire, quietly idling. This is the classic Broadcom. The chips in your phone, your Wi-Fi, your broadband, your storage, around $4 billion a quarter. And here's the striking part. It's barely growing at all. Flat. A few years ago, this was the whole company. Today, it's the smallest, slowest piece. So picture the whole company as one engine block with 3 cylinders. one firing like a rocket, one humming steadily, and one nearly idling. Almost every dollar of growth is coming from the first cylinder. Add it all up, and the whole company bringing over $22 billion in a single quarter, a number growing 48% a year, and they throw off the cash the way almost no one else on earth can. More than $10 billion of what's called free cash flow in just 3 months. Free cash flow is simply the money left over after a company has paid for everything it needs to keep running. The money it can actually use to reward shareholders, buy back its own stock, or pay down debt. And what about the future? Here we have to be careful and be honest. The next part is not fact. It's company's own promise about what's coming. For the current quarter, Broadcom is guiding to nearly $30 billion in revenue, up 84% from a year ago. And the management says that within about a year, the AI business alone will be running past $100 billion a year. They point to a backlog of orders, chips already spoken for, worth tens of billions, stretching years into the future. Now, companies make optimistic promises all the time. Every company is a tug of war between a story that could go right and a story that could go wrong. So first, the bull case. Why this could be one of the great AI investments. 1. Broadcom wins either way. If people buy NVIDIA, and the data still travels Broadcom's roads. If customers want to buy their own chip, Broadcom designs it. It doesn't need to pick the winning horse. It owns the racetrack. 2. The roads are genuinely monopoly-like position. Broadcom make the most powerful data center switch on earth, and the shift toward its preferred networking language is only accelerating as AI clusters get larger. And the shift toward its preferred networking language is only accelerating as AI clusters get bigger. 3. Enter the flashy AI business, see the river of software cash from VMware, steady, boring, and enormously profitable. The kind of money that keeps flowing whether or not this quarter's AI numbers dazzle. And 4. The customer list isn't shrinking, it's multiplying. A year ago, it was basically Google and Meta. Now add Anthropic, add OpenAI. Each new giant that decides to build its own chip is another giant that calls Broadcom. The bull's one-sentence summary. Heads, it wins. Tails, it wins. Not a bear case. 1, and this is a big one, Broadcom's biggest customer are also the only companies on earth powerful enough to fight back. Broadcom's custom chip business lives on a tiny handful of giants, and when your business depends on a few customers, those customers hold enormous power over you. In 2026, that stopped being a theory. Google, Broadcom's single most important custom chip customer, started looking for someone else to help design its chips. A competitor called MediaTek began winning some of that work, and on its own earnings call, Broadcom admitted it. Its biggest customers were shopping around. Some analysts think Broadcom's slice of Google's business could shrink meaningfully over the next few years. 2. Those beautiful tailored custom chips tend to earn Broadcom thinner profit margins than its own switches do. So the faster that business grows, the more it can quietly drag down how profitable each dollar of sales really is. Growth and margin are in constant tug of war. And 3. The price. Broadcom is already worth nearly $1.8 trillion. This is not a hidden gem nobody found. The market has absolutely noticed. At that price, you're not betting on the company doing well. You're betting it does almost everything right for years. So here's the elegant way to hold the whole debate in your head. The bear is counting one customer. The bull is counting how fast the customers are multiplying. So what do you watch for in every earnings call? You don't have to be an analyst. Every 3 months, Broadcom reports its result, and there are 5 simple things to watch. If these move the right way, the bull story is intact. If they don't, that's your warning. Number 1. The AI chip revenue line. It's been climbing quarter after quarter. 4 billions, then 8, now almost 11. The moment that growth stalls, the whole story changes. Number 2. The new custom chip customers. The bull case lives or dies on the customer list growing. Every time Broadcom lands another giant that wants its own chip, the bull gets stronger. Listen for new names, and how many there are. Number 3. The Google situation. This is the single most important thing to watch, because it's the heart of the bear case. Does Broadcom hold on to Google's business, or does that competitor keep taking bites? Any update on that relationship is the number that could move the stock the most. Number 4. The profit margin. Watch whether growing all these custom chips is quietly eating into how profitable Broadcom is. If revenue soars, but margins slide, that's a tug of war tipping the wrong way. And number 5. The software business. VMware. It's a steady foundation under everything. As long as it keeps growing quietly in the background, Broadcom has a floor underneath the AI excitement. If it wobbles, the whole thing gets shakier. 5 numbers, once a quarter. That's your dashboard. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.